All right, guys, hope you're having a great day today. Thank you for watching this video. In this video, I want to talk about why you should not hire a third party, an agency, whatever you want to call it. And you might want to consider hiring in-house, or you want to consider an alternative, which I'm going to show you here in just a few minutes towards the end of this video. So before we jump into this, if you could subscribe, leave me a like button. This is my first video on YouTube, so if you can show me some love, get me up in the algorithm, I'd appreciate that. And we'll jump into this. But before I do, my name is Keelan Lee. I'm the founder of a growth partnering company called neonacquisitions.com. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we do a little bit later. But let's go ahead and jump into the preface of this video. And what made me inspired to make this video? I see agency offers every single day on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. And I was kind of inspired by the fact of this existence to make this. So first off, I don't believe that marketing agencies are a scam. Okay, first things first. I myself have run a marketing agency or two. I've helped everything from TikTok. I've done a TikTok agency. I did a white label partnership with a coaching program on that. Helped e-commerce brands, skincare brands, jewelry brands in particular. I ran my own lead generation company for software development companies, IT companies. I've done it all. Well, not all of it, but I've done quite a bit in the agency space. And so I'm not against marketing agencies. I think there's a point in time where a marketing agency might be necessary. However, before hiring one, I think there's a few things that you might want to consider before you hop on the third party train, start outsourcing to an agency, right? So first off, there's a rising popularity of marketing agencies, or the term SMMA, and you can throw this back to guys like Kai Bax, Iman Gadji, Ty Lopez, even Alex Ramosi, Sam Ovens, these kind of big figures, these multi-millionaire gurus, if you will, with millions of followers. They've kind of popularized this idea of service-based businesses, and more specifically social media marketing agencies, or just marketing agencies in general. And since COVID, there's kind of been this uptrend of just trying to make money online. You can kind of read this document, a little bit more of an article. This is a document I've written, and I've kind of written a little bit more of an article about this. But I'm just going to kind of briefly go over this document rather than trying to read it all word for word. But you can find this document and a link in the description. But the bottom line is that agencies just are not innovative. They're copy and pasted, cookie cutter type of businesses, and there's just not, it's just a red sea of service providers rather than guys actually helping businesses grow. And because of this, the barrier to entry is super low. And so you have like 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who are hitting up these guys with 30 emails a day, and just going crazy. And it's just a very competitive space to be in. And so as a result, there are some issues with the agency space. So I'm going to jump into that. Again, who am I? My name is Keelan. Like I said, I've run some marketing agencies myself. I've helped over 20 businesses, from software development, consulting, coaching firms, SaaS accelerators. These are recent industries, tech startups, and even marketing agencies themselves. I've run dozens of campaigns in 2023 alone. We're coming up on more than dozens of campaigns now. I've lost count. But I've run them across myself and my partners to help them get on the phone with their ideal client profile through organic outreach engineering so they can scale profitably and consistently. If you run a B2B funded venture or a startup and you're looking for a profitable long-term exit, or you just want to grow past $1 million in annual recurring revenue within 12 to 16 months or so, without hiring an agency or a team of SDRs, then you can book a call in the description, or you can book it on this document here. So by the way, there's no pressure on this call. It's just a kind of consulting session where my intention is genuinely to figure out where you are and an action plan to take you forward over the long-term trajectory of your business. So who's this for? Really just any kind of funded or established B2B venture who has product market fit, who doesn't know how to build a predictable pipeline, and who just is looking for in-house opportunities, long-term trajectory results, and an exit. So if that sounds like you can keep reading, keep watching. And again, this doesn't really apply to like a B2C company. Not because I have a problem with B2C companies. It's just the practical steps are not going to be as applicable. You can apply the fundamentals and the principles, but the actual practical steps might be changing depending on your business, right? So if you're a beginner, this also won't be that relevant to you. If you're a beginner, you're probably not trying to hire an agency. But anyhow, so the first reason why I would not hire a marketing agency is that they're just not sustainable options for long-term results. You may have already come to this realization, but agencies are everywhere. They're in your inbox or on LinkedIn saying, we can guarantee you 15 new leads through email. We can do this. We can do bat flips. We can turn the world upside down. We can do it all, right? So marketing agencies are just making these big, bold claims, basically saying they can give you the world. But they usually fall in these three categories, which I've kind of coined here. So we have A, B, C category agency. So you have an A category agency, which is a third party that sells you on their service, but they just don't fulfill, right? And sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes it is. Sometimes they're just bad at service delivery. I don't think agencies are out there to scam people. As an agency owner myself, it's very hard to get results. For some businesses, it's going to be easier, but some of them just simply are not capable of delivering results. And sometimes you're just the unlucky person that happens to be the client they can't deliver for, right? So A category, an agency that doesn't deliver. You have a B category agency that delivers very mediocre results. Usually you stick with those agencies for a couple months and then you kind of just let the contract ride out. And then you have a C category agency. This is like a unicorn. This is the agency you're ideally looking for. They deliver very well, and they communicate well. They do what an agency is supposed to do. But the problem with the agency model is that they are designed for like these 3 to 4 tops 6-month contracts. So what happens is you're relying on this agency to deliver results, but when the contract ends, you're back to square one. You don't have the results coming anymore. So I've seen my fair share of all three of these types of agencies, but commonly it's usually a C category agency that I typically come across. So marketing agencies can be a great option to leverage, but let's be honest, if you're hiring a marketing agency, you likely don't have the expertise to hire a C category agency. You don't have the knowledge and expertise to figure out who is a C category agency, who's a B category. You don't have the ability to vet these things out. So usually as a result, you're going through your inbox, trying to find the best cold email that they've sent you, and you're just going to pick the best offer. And it turns out that this agency you hired can't deliver. So, and we call this purgatory. I'm going to show you this concept in just a second, but usually it kind of turns into this feedback loop right here. The company needs to grow. So they start interviewing these agencies out of desperation. Maybe it's not desperation. Maybe they just want to grow. So they get sold on an agency. The agency is not getting results. So that turns out to be an A category agency. So they fire or they terminate the contract. They rehire an agency. And so let's see here. So they hire usually like a B category agency. So are the results good? No. Okay, so it's probably a mediocre agency. Results stop after 3 to 4 months, and they still need to grow, right? Regardless of if you hire an agency or not, you are still going to need to grow when that agency is gone. And an A category agency is just going to put you in the negative, right? So this is kind of what we call, again, agency hiring purgatory. It's just a loop of hiring and hiring and hiring because you can't build your own in-house team. You don't have a partner that specializes in growth. So you end up kind of in this feedback loop, right? So anyway, so let's kind of go to the bottom here. Look, if your goal is to hire a short-term outcome or hire for the purpose of a short-term outcome, then agency might be something to consider. But once again, if you're searching for the long-term agreement, you're looking for a long-term trajectory, sustainable growth that's profitable, then you might want to consider a different option versus a short-term contract with an agency, especially with any agency, even C category agencies. It's going to be very transactional. It's just going to be pay me money, whether it's performance based or not. Pay me money, and then when the contract ends, whether you get results or not, it's none of my business, right? So that's kind of the flub of agencies. So second point is marketing agencies are commodities. The reason why this is an issue ultimately is that because agencies are commodities with the same offer, with the same deliverables, with the same systems, you're getting like a very cookie cutter, not only agency, but fulfillment. So these agencies are just going to copy and paste the same system for you, for another client, for another client, for another client. And there's no innovation going on. There's no creativity. There's no competitive advantage. You're just going to be hiring templated processes. Now, they might work, but again, over the trajectory of a long term, not really. So that's going to so let's go with this example here. So I left it to an example. Imagine your own B2B startup striving to make a mark in a competitive landscape. You invest in a marketing campaign, hoping to boost website traffic or conversions or signups, whatever the case may be. However, the generic approach only leads to a meager 5% increase. 5% is, depending on the company, could be very significant, could be very insignificant. And while a competitor, like the alternative that I'm going to show you, they enjoy a substantial 25% surge in growth, right? It's not just numbers on a screen. It's the difference between a missed opportunity and substantial, sustainable long-term growth, right? So again, with an agency, it's all about the short-term wins. It's all about the short-term trajectory, not the long-term trajectory. You need to find a partner who's going to help you over the long term. Again, I keep saying this, but is going to help you grow with that 25% surge in this example, right? And they do that through a tailor-made strategy that I mentioned here, right? You need to have somebody who's going to be able to create something specifically for your business, not something that can be copied and pasted. Sure, some principles and some fundamentals can be copied and pasted across different businesses, no matter what. But generally speaking, you want to have something made for your industry, for your specific needs, right? And so suppose you're an established venture eyeing a long-term exit strategy, a moment where every single bit of your valuation matters. The absence of a distinctive marketing approach could potentially shave off millions from your business's worth during negotiations. It's not just a theoretical concept, but this is a real impact on your future endeavors, right? So overall, the commoditization of agency and their offers and their deliverables, that's going to ultimately impact the trajectory of your business and the how much it's going to impact your valuation and so on. So to summarize point two, agencies are commodities, their deliverables are commodities, which means that you're going to be taking part in a commodity, and that is going to affect the trajectory of your business because you don't have a tailored approach. You don't have something specifically designed for you. You don't have you have a very cookie cutter approach, if that makes sense. So hopefully you can see the value in why you need a more personalized long-term approach, not a commoditized short-term contract, right? So three is intellectual property risks. People don't really think about this too much, but I can tell you as an agency owner myself, agencies leverage intellectual property from their clients, whether it's for themselves, their other clients, or to share in other communities. And so, let's say you have, you have specific market insight through your own business. If you trust that agency with that intellectual property, there's leakage right there, right? And so now that leakage is kind of spreading on the internet. You're kind of losing a little bit of competitive advantage because your intellectual property is being compromised, right? So trusting an external agency with your startup's proprietary details might seem logical, but the consequences can be far-reaching. In the competitive realm of B2B startups, safeguarding your intellectual property or IP isn't just legal protocol, it's about shielding your business's core. The potential fallout, your unique edge in the market dissipates, leaving you vulnerable to copycats and legal battles, risking both financial loss and a tarnished reputation. The aftermath extends beyond setbacks. In an innovation-driven world, compromised proprietary technology can undermine investor confidence and repel partners. Okay, this touches every corner of your startup's journey, from funding rounds to strategic exits. Venture capitalists and potential acquirers evaluate intellectual property ownership rigorously. Intellectual property disputes threaten negotiations and deflate your startup's valuation, hindering growth and successful exit. So again, hopefully you can see how compromising your intellectual property is going to Not in all cases. I'm not speaking for all agencies, by the way. I'm not speaking for, there's good agencies out there. But for some agencies who are competitive, who are sharing information, who are always, on the go, they are going to compromise and leak your intellectual property if it's valuable. Okay. So don't hire an agency you can't trust. That's pretty much the summarize of that third point. So as a fourth point or a bonus, an agency can't fix your business. Okay. So if you are a beginner or you're starting a new startup, you're starting a new venture, an agency can't build that venture for you. An agency helps you grow. Um, if you have if you don't have product market fit, if you don't have fundamental copy, you don't have marketing assets, you don't have case studies, you don't have any of these things in place, a marketing agency can't run your business for you. A marketing agency takes your foundations that you have in place and expands upon them, helps them flourish, help them grow. But it can't build those foundations for you. I don't know of any service provider out there that's going to give you all these things here: product market fit, fundamental copy, marketing assets, sales assets, funding. There's no service provider that I'm aware of that's going to do literally everything for you. You can join coaching programs that are going to teach you how you can achieve these things. But ultimately, these are things you have to do yourself, and you should be doing yourself. Once you've kind of established these realms of product market fit, having fundamentals in place, then hiring an agency could be a good option to kind of get a short-term growth going. But once again, if you're looking for a long-term trajectory straight off the bat, you might want to consider a different option than a third-party agency. So I've talked about there's going to be an alternative. So what is that alternative? Maybe you were thinking about hiring an agency, and I torn that completely down, and now you're thinking, so what do I do now, Keelan? Like, what do I just do I hire somebody else? Like, what else is there? Do I hire freelancers? Do I hire an army of VAs from the Philippines? Like, what do I do? So while I don't advocate for the use of an agency for most B2B ventures, for some of you, an agency might be very relevant. But I firmly believe you can't do this alone. In fact, you should never, ever do this alone, especially when you're starting your first venture or your second or your third. I myself couldn't build my agencies or my businesses by myself. Let's be honest, you're probably not an expert in generating qualified pipeline, which is probably why you're looking for an agency. You're probably watching this video because you were thinking, I want to hire an agency to fill my pipeline. But now Keelan has destroyed my dreams of hiring an agency. So now that we've destroyed that, what's the option? How do I get qualified pipeline? Maybe you don't know how to innovate on modern marketing tactics to generate a consistent flow of deals. Okay, you don't have the resources or skill sets to run paid advertising, which, by the way, if you're funded or not, you should not be running paid advertising if you're a startup. If you're an established venture, you're trying to scale, you are really good at deliverables, you have an established business, then paid advertising could be a great option. But for the majority of you watching this, paid ads is not going to be a very capital efficient means to acquire clients. Okay, so you probably don't understand what channels you should operate through to get the maximum deal flow. Maybe you want to try cold calling, you want to try cold email, you want to try LinkedIn, you want to try Twitter, you want to try Facebook, you want to try all these different channels, but you're not sure which one is going to give you the maximum benefit. So you kind of procrastinate. You're probably reading this document or watching this video because you thought about, again, hiring a third party. So look, scaling a B2B venture organically while operating with great product deliverables, a lean team, and high performance is very, very hard. Okay, after all, 90% and more of ventures fail in their first year. It's not your fault though, okay? Finding A players to onboard into your team to ensure great performance and scalability is extremely tough, especially considering that the top companies are taking all your talent. Okay, it's very hard to do this, but let me ask you, does this sound familiar to you? Are you tired of hiring and firing poor, mediocre performing agencies and the occasional C category agency? You're tired of going through the endless purgatory of hiring and firing agencies like we mentioned? You're looking for a long-term individual who will partner with you through a long-term trajectory with visions and values aligned with you, who you can trust, who has ambitious desires for innovation, has creative, competitive edge. If you're looking for someone with those types of features who can help you achieve that long-term trajectory, you might want to consider hiring a growth partner. Okay, so What's a growth partner? So I'm going to break this down just a little bit, but I'm going to tell you how we do the growth partner model. I'm going to show you why you might want to consider that over an agency. So if you work with a growth partner, you're going to achieve speed and efficiency in the acquisitions process. Have someone you can trust versus a third party. You're going to have someone with you through the long-term trajectory of your venture and your startup. You're going to have someone who's consistently innovating, creating competitive edge every single month, and someone who's giving you intense time and attention after after all, they are your partner. Okay. So at neonacquisitions.com, we've basically created a growth program dedicated to B2B startups and established ventures where we are putting agencies to shame, not because we're an agency, but because we are the growth partner. We are coming alongside these startups and these ventures, and we are their long-term partner, right? That's what we're here for. We're here to stay until either you hire in-house, which we actually help you do, or you don't want to do it anymore, right? So outcomes and goals. Here's what we intend to happen when you work with us. So we will build you a client acquisition machine that yields a 10 to 15x minimum ROI. We're going to be able to predictably acquire customers at a higher profitability. We're going to have pre-vetted, ready-to-buy leads in your pipeline. We're going to close over 20% because of how well qualified these guys are. We're going to reach $1 million in annual recurring revenue within 12 to 18 months if executed with speed and efficiency. We're going to gain investor trust and ready to take on a next round of funding, whether that's to invest in a new team, marketing department, sales department, or development, whatever the case may be, product development, deliverability, whatever. You want to have a long-term partner who can help you achieve a profitable exit. So this is kind of what a graph looks like in terms of the purple line represents, by the way, I'm not good at graphs, but this is the best example I can come up with. So the purple line represents the trajectory of a startup's lifetime over 16 months with a growth partner. Okay, it's very slow and steady, but it continuously goes up. You have a little bit of dips here, okay, but you're still continuously going up. There's a trend. Whereas if you're working with agencies, you might hire, month 1 through 3, you hire an A category agency, right? You kind of maybe you get a little bit of results and spike. You go back to zero, you're back to square one because that agency puts you in the negative. Then you hire a B category agency who's helping you out a little bit, getting you decent results, but the contract ends. You finally find a C category agency, a unicorn, but you can't sustain the results because you can't sustain the partnership with them. So the contract ends. Now you're back to this. So with an agency, it's very much so like this because you're just hiring and firing agencies or your contracts are ending, whatever the case may be, right? So how does this actually work? What's included? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to assess, we're going to do an MVMS asset management protocol. Okay, so what does that mean? It's kind of a bunch of jargon, but MVMS stands for minimum viable marketing and sales and then asset assessment. We're going to look at your sales and marketing assets and kind of evaluate how we can leverage these for the highest input possible to generate attention, generate interest, right? Marketing is the process of generating interest, and then sales is the process of converting interest into cash, right? So we need to I talk about this a lot in my thesis, which I'll leave a link in the description. We talk about the importance of these assets, case studies, your offer, your ICP creation, your validation, your landing page optimization, your sales letter, messaging writing, sales process iteration. These are all things we're going to work on first, very slowly, to make sure they're down pat, so we can put as much energy into the market as possible and very efficiently. Okay. We're going to maximizing capital efficiency with our partnership is number one priority, making sure that we're not wasting money, not wasting time. And then we have our organic outbound campaign creation and management. So we're going to set up 10 to 15 email domains. Each domain is going to have like 2 accounts. We're going to send 1,000 emails per day. We're going to set up 3 LinkedIn accounts so that way we can follow up with these people over a social media platform. LinkedIn is highly effective. I've booked a lot of meetings on LinkedIn. Set up proxies, scrape your ideal customer profile via databases we have exclusive access to. We're going to manage the responses and the inbox itself. We're going to have an omni-channel follow-up system. This is where we're going to plant a cold caller in your business so they can kind of handle the follow-up work and do some of the phone work, right? So help you hire an in-house marketing team. This is a long-term strategy, by the way. We want to help you hire an in-house marketing and sales team so you're not relying on a third party, and you will never have to because you have a trained in-house marketing and sales team. We're going to ensure stable profitability. We're looking for a 60% minimum depending on your product and industry. Okay. For some people, this might be a 40% minimum. It might be an 80% minimum. Depends on the product and industry. But we're going to have assets you depend on to generate consistent interest. Assets scale the hardest. Okay. Have a profitable, scalable engine that only stops working when you want to turn it off. Okay. Deliverables. We're going to have an outbound engine that's validated, 3 to 5 sales opportunities every single week. Front end qualifications. Have engine built within 90 days, validated assets, and the goal is to bring you to $1 million in annual recurring revenue within 12 to 18 months. And if we don't achieve that, you don't pay. Okay. This is a done for you offer, but we require segments to be done with you. This is talking more specifically about your assets. We cannot create case studies for you. We aren't the team doing the fulfillment process. We are a growth partner business. We make suggestions and consult on any necessary tasks that help you boost your conversions or your sales. Whatever's going to make the process faster, we consult on those issues. We don't do done for you case studies or anything like that. Just want to make that clear. So we can ultimately go the old way. You can keep hiring A to B category marketing agency and maybe the occasional unicorn C category agency. You can lack the maintenance of results and a strategic partnership that helps you win over the trajectory of your business's lifetime. You can pour your growth budget and your funding into third parties that don't deliver in a mediocre fashion, or see your relationship as merely transactional. Okay, you can do it all yourself, even though you lack the skill sets to acquire qualified clients at a capital efficient pace, which will result in years of delayed success and burned growth budget. Okay, so you can waste years of delayed success, or you can go my way. Okay, so you can work yourself to death trying to get your venture to grow while losing investors' trust, resulting in either shutting the business down due to lack of cash flow and sustainability, or be replaced by a new CEO, CXO, and going back to your 9 to 5. Okay, or you can go my way. Work with someone who understands the importance of long-term capital efficiency and profitable growth. Build a profitable acquisition machine without having to pour unnecessary budget and investors' funding. Have a predictable means of taking on new clients at will. Have a partnership with someone who will give you immense time and attention. Have a plan to hire in-house and a marketing sales team. Grow your venture to $1 million in annual recurring revenue without a third-party agency. Okay, if you're funded or you're an established B2B venture or startup, you can book a call right here or in the link in the description. And thank you for watching this video. I appreciate your time. Book that call right there if this sounds like something you're interested in. I appreciate you.